Tom, how are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
15 minutes. I'm good, thank you. 15 minutes to talk about anything.
Great.
Just talk about anything.
Let's do it.
Are you from Bolton, right?
No, I'm not.
Are you from Manchester?
That's fake news.
That's fake news. I was going to say Bolton. I was like, let's talk about...
No, my dad will claim that because he's from Bolton, but I went to school in Bolton, but I'm from Salford.
Who's your team then?
United. Come on, United. Yeah.
It's tonight.
I know.
We can talk about that.
Come on in.
I don't know, though.
I don't know either, mate.
Hey, I'm a Spurs fan, so we're in the same boat.
Well, not quite.
Not quite. I'm sure there'll be disappointment for both of us.
Yeah.
Let's talk about House of the Dragon, which is just...
what?
This is just like kind of monolithic for fans, you know, Game of Thrones. It's just people get so obsessed with it, and if it's not how they want it to be, it's like a strange dichotomy of things. How have you navigated that? Because I know you're on social media, but I know you've said in the past that you kind of try and stay away from it.
Yeah,
Can you get trapped in that cycle if you were to engage, as it were, a little bit more?
I think I'm just quite bad at engaging anyway. I'm shit at texting people back, so like just being on my phone, I'm not very good at. I find it, I don't know, I just find it a bit mind-numbing. So I don't really know what people have been saying about the show. I know that initially when we were doing press at the start, we had a lot of people coming in, like yourself, talking about, you know, fans' reactions, and it was all going quite well. So I hope it's continued in that sense, but with regards to the finale, I've not really engaged much at all.
I think it's always like a mixed bag in the sense of, with fans of these kind of things, particularly, you know, it's the same as like with superheroes. They always want like Batman to look a certain way or be a certain way, and they want if you don't follow the books to the nth degree or something, they might get a thing. But I think the reaction's been quite good. Have you been fed anything about it, or have you kind of stayed away from?
I think my team know not to do that, so I don't really get much.
When it came around at the beginning, someone pitched you, hey, House of Dragon, there's his character, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What was your initial kind of thought process in terms of, as an actor, as a job, and also being part of a huge franchise?
That of nerves and anxiety and feeling ill-equipped and an excitement and kind of reveling in the challenge of it all, I think, was my main thing. And just that kind of innate need to not fuck it up. Because being aware of how intense the world of Game of Thrones was and the fandom that it sort of has garnered. Yeah, we were riding on the shoulders of giants essentially, and just trying to fill a void that once Game of Thrones came off the TV and they stopped making it, to then try and fill that void. But again, that wasn't really our responsibility because we were making a new show. It was a different story. It was the same world, same universe, but it was a different story, different characters. So, you know, we kind of allowed ourselves a bit of creative leeway in that sense. So yeah, I think if I think too much about the pressures of it, I'll never go to work again.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to put your blinkers on and crack on.
Yeah. I spoke to Ryan recently when he did press for when the show started, and he was very much similar to what you said about it's his own kind of thing. Yes, it's part of the world and it's kind of a prequel and all this kind of stuff.
But actually, it's
its own thing. Does that alleviate a bit of pressure, knowing that he's like, this is how we're going to do it, forget all...
Totally. Ryan's very clear about that, and you know, and that sort of filters through the entire production. It was clear after season 1 that people responded really well to the show, which was great, and we were all so glad about. But like I say, you can't really fixate on that because people will just be terrified of saying anything or doing anything or writing anything. And I think when things get scrutinised as closely as a show like this does, there's always going to be people that aren't keen on it or disagree with it or would have done something differently. But essentially, it's I don't know, it's just the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah. This character is so interesting because obviously there was one thing I read that it's all about hedonism and depravity for him. It sounds like a Ken Russell film or something.
Right.
What was the reasons for you in terms of what stood out about him? Because he has this kind of frantic nature, and people would say he's a bad guy, but actually he's kind of not. It's kind of his insides are a certain way, and it's just how he reacts to certain things. What was it about him that his essence, if you like, that spoke to you?
The thing with Aegon is, like you say, he's unpredictable. He's a danger to himself and others, and without really wanting or intending to be. He's one of those people that if you were going for pints with your mates and one of your mates said, Aegon's going to come tonight, you'd think, oh, fucking oh, no, this could go anywhere.
Yeah.
And for me, that was exciting to step into a skin like that and to kind of work out what he's about. I just love taking on characters that I feel uncomfortable around. And once you're in the skin of them, you're not uncomfortable around them because you are them.
Yeah, there is an intrigue to him, which I can imagine when you read the scripts as an actor, that's really interesting because, as you say, he is a bit unpredictable and you don't quite know.
Yeah, but why?
But why? Yeah.
Yeah, but why? And I think that's what my challenge was. That season 2 was to unpack that why, and not necessarily spoon feed it to an audience, but just make sense of it for myself. So then his choices felt sort of validated and understood on a level for me as the actor to bring some sort of level of authenticity to. I just think he's so complex, and he's not just a villain. He's way more than that. And I've said this in press before, but that's why I find him exciting, is because there's so much to unpack, so many layers to him. And I don't think we've seen anywhere near all of them yet.
That's what I was going to say. That was my next question. There's a lot more to think with him. I mean, obviously they don't give you the scripts and everything else, but is that part of the excitement of doing it, that's part of the unpredictability as well, that you don't know yourself where he's going to go?
No. I mean, the scene could be written, and I've had an understanding once I've read the scene, and we turn up to work in the morning and get all the garb on and stuff, and then you step on set and you think, right, okay, I've got an understanding of how this scene's going to go, and you get on, and it's completely different. I'm like, even I'm catching myself off guard because of the way that he might respond to other people, or the mood that I'm in that day might sort of filter in, and it's great. It's a really exciting process to work with a character like this. Yeah.
I spoke to Ewan last week, and he was talking about Aemond and all of his stuff as well, and the two of you kind of together. Are they the most enjoyable scenes for you to shoot when it's the two of you? Because you obviously have other characters in there, and your mother and all that other stuff. But it seemed like for him that they were quite exciting to shoot, particularly some of the stuff with
we didn't have a great deal of them this season. Yeah. It kind of might
more special, I guess.
Yeah, it might feel more than there actually were, but it's always fun working with you. And yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on between Aegon and Aemond. A lot of unspoken resentment and jealousy, and they compare each other a lot. Yeah, compare themselves to each other a lot. But other scenes with other actors are equally as exciting. Like the three-hander that I had with Fabien and Rhys in the King's Chambers, where I de-handed Otto was so exciting, and that felt like live theatre because we had such an open space. Claire Kilner, who's amazing, allowed us the scope to just kind of move around and use the space as best we could. So there wasn't any sort of fixed movements or anything, but it was so much fun.
Yeah, that scene with Olivia, you two in the carriage is quite a.
Oh, in season 1.
It's quite a one in season 1. Yeah. Is that must have been a fun day to shoot?
It was. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Anything that. And these scenes are sort of a constant for Aegon that sort of require some kind of emotional dive. They're the ones that really kind of get the juices flowing. Yeah.
How did you deal with? Obviously, you're halfway there with your blonde hair anyway, with the wig, but also you have the prosthetics as well, which is quite stark. How do you deal with that as an actor, putting all that stuff on? Because I know for some people it can elevate, or sometimes it can be quite daunting because you're kind of covered a little bit.
It's both. It's both, and one serves the other, because I get claustrophobic in it, and it's kind of stifling. It feels like I just want to peel my skin off. But that's how he's feeling at the time, when he's covered in his burns and everything's really sore and tight. And because of the nature of the prosthetic, we spent ages working out how to. I really wanted to have the pieces feel restrictive, and like they kind of were pulling me into myself to sort of inform the way that I moved and kind of feel that difference in his sort of looseness and levity that we have at the start of season 2 with him, and to this kind of like shriveled version of him, which is tight and sort of ringing and sort of contorted. I really wanted that difference to be stark and for it to help the movement side of things. So it was great, and it really does inform the way that I play Aegon now. Yeah.
A big question for everyone is how's Sunfire, I guess, because it's a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's
you don't even know.
No.
How do you feel about your dragon and the kind of the designs and then seeing it on screen for the first?
Oh, I feel very protective over Sunfire. I mean, you've just been saying you've been playing with Ziggy, my dog.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sunfire is an extension of him. There was that nice scene where we see Aegon and Sunfire kind of meet, and that kind of little nudge that Sunfire gives him in the chest. All I was seeing there was Ziggy. So yeah, it's great to see that sort of creature, that beast, come to life, and see people's reactions to, to that relationship. Yeah,
it's almost, that scene was almost like How to Train Your Dragon.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, because quite a sweet moment.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Philip Pullman moment with the demon, and how it's an extension of him. Yeah.
One of your first, I think your first film job was working with Christopher Nolan on Dunkirk. How has that as an experience kind of helped shape where you've gone to since? Because I can imagine it was a big war movie. It's a Christopher Nolan movie, and he has his ability to imbue so much positivity on people and get so much great work out of his actors. What was that experience like for you, and how have you taken the lessons from that into what you've been doing since?
I mean, it was an absolute gift to be a part of a film like that and to work with Chris and the rest of the cast. Everybody was very aware that it was a few of the lads, including myself. It was our first time on a film set. Some lads had done stuff before, but never anything that size. And I just learnt so much, and Chris really took me under his wing and gave me a lot of nuggets of gold that otherwise I probably wouldn't have had at any point in my career, let alone right at the start. So yeah, I felt like I came away from that project with another layer of armour, a few more sharper tools in my artillery, and ready to crack on and to do other things. Yeah, it was a real exciting time. As
a final question, and obviously season 3 imminent at some point, is it kind of good for you guys as actors? I said this to Ewan about not knowing what's next. Is that part of the excitement? Because Ryan could have quite said to you, yeah, this is happening, here's all the scripts and everything else. But actually, he's quite secretive and just says yes. And obviously, fans were like, "Is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? When are we going to see this?" And he's just like, "It's 4. We're going to do 4 seasons. It takes its time." Is that good for you as actors to kind of be kept in the dark a little bit?
Kind of, yeah, kind of. I kind of like to have an idea of where things are going, just so I can kind of drip feed that into my psyche and sort of prepare for it subconsciously. Because I don't think about it every day, but somewhere in me, something is happening, cogs are turning, and sort of, the imagination juices carry on flowing. Ryan's and some of the writers, Sarah and David, have been have sort of drip fed a few things. Just be like, this potentially could happen, and just to sort of get and get me sort of revved up a little bit, and it's worked. So yeah, I'm really excited to go back and crack on with this story, because my God, is it going to kick off?
I think that's what people are looking for it to do, aren't they?
Yeah.
But hey, you don't want to get everything straight away, do you?
No, exactly.
You want some stuff to be kept back. Yeah, wait for it. Such a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks so much for your time.
Likewise, mate.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey you guys!